Hey there, I'm Julie, and this is the Married to Addiction podcast. If you're here, then you're probably what I call my secret sister. We're in a situation we never asked to be in and fighting a battle we never wanted to fight. We're faith-filled women who are married to an alcoholic, and it affects every inch of our lives. If that sounds like you, then this is a safe place for you to land. Married to Addiction is a faith-based podcast where I help you find the tools and strength you need to navigate your husband's addiction without losing yourself in the process. So please subscribe and tune in as often as you can, because your husband's recovery is important, but so is yours. Okay, so it's July, and I have two exciting announcements to make. First of all, hopefully you have heard already, but if you have not, I just released my brand new Married to Addiction digital studies. I am super excited about these because they are the only Bible-based studies that are designed specifically for the wife of an alcoholic. So what are they? They are downloadable, printable studies that are Bible-based, and they're designed to help you conquer some of your biggest challenges as the Christian wife of an alcoholic. So there are 3 that are currently available. The first one is how to activate more trust in God. It is basically a roadmap to letting go and letting God. Now, how many of us have a problem with this concept when our husband is addicted? Pretty much all of us. It can be difficult. The second one is how to deepen your relationship with God, because another thing that we really have an issue with a lot of the time is faltering faith, because we're wondering, like, where even is God right now? Why is this happening to me? And it can definitely affect our relationship with him. And then the last one is activating self-worth. So this one is a roadmap to ditching self-doubt and fully embracing who God says you are. So our self-esteem can really take a hit when we're married to an alcoholic. We can start to feel unworthy, unloved. So this digital study is specifically for you if you are feeling those feelings. You can also buy the bundle, which is all 3 of them together, and you can save money if you do it that way. So that is my first exciting announcement. My other exciting announcement is if you join the Secret Sister Circle this month, you get the planner. So what that is basically a way for you to hit the ground running when you go into the group. It's got all kinds of trackers and calendars and all kinds of awesome stuff to keep you really organized so that it doesn't feel overwhelming to you. But bonus is, you not only get the planner if you join in July, but these 3 studies are actually part of the Secret Sister Circle. So those are all included if you join the membership as well. They're part of the curriculum over there. So if you want either one of these, all you have to do, of course, is to go to marriedtoaddiction.com. You will click on the Get Help dropdown, and there you will see the option to choose either the Secret Sisters membership or the digital studies. If you have any questions, as always, please email me at julie@marriedtoaddiction.com. I'm always happy to help. Hello, and welcome to episode 51 of the Married to Addiction podcast. Today's episode is titled The Difference Between Letting Go of Things You Can't Control and Being in Denial. So this episode was actually inspired by an image I saw on Toby Mac's page. And if you don't know who Toby Mac is, you gotta go find him. I love him. He's a musical artist. He's a Christian artist. He's so good. So good. He's one of my very favorite Christian artists. But he also posts a lot of really cool, like inspiring, encouraging stuff on his page. So the image that inspired this episode from his page said, "It's a beautiful day to stop dwelling on things you can't control." So I used to see things like that, and I would think, yeah, okay, well, that's easy for you to say, but that's impossible for me to do. My husband is an alcoholic. My life is crumbling. My world is in chaos. Like, there's no way. That's completely impossible. So today I wanted to talk about, excuse me, what that actually looks like and the difference between doing that, not dwelling on things you can't control, and being in denial. So notice that the quote says that particular passage, dwelling on things you can't control. There is an image, a different image that I posted in my Secret Sister Circle membership group, and I love it. I actually saved it on my phone, and I look at it often because it's just a really cool depiction. It's actually a little cartoon picture, and it's of a guy, or two guys on a bus. There is a guy on one side of the bus that is facing what looks to be like a rock wall, like a dark gray rock wall. And he's looking at the wall on his side of the bus, and he looks so sad and so just dejected. And above his head, it says, "It's out of my control." So his viewpoint is, it's out of my control and it's dark because I can't fix it and it's heavy and it's difficult. On the opposite side of the bus, is another little cartoon guy, and he's looking out the window at the mountains in the distance, and he has his binoculars and he's looking at all the beautiful scenery, and his view is great and bright and wonderful, and it says above his head, "It's out of my control." Well, his take on it isn't, "It's out of my control, so it's terrible and awful, and what in the world am I going to do?" His take on it is, "It's out of my control. There's nothing I can do. So I might as well, try to enjoy my life because there's literally nothing I can do. So why be miserable like the guy on the other side of the bus when there's nothing you could do, when you can have this other experience instead?" So I really, really love that picture. So let's talk about the differences between denial and letting go. So those are two completely different things. Denial doesn't admit that there's a problem. So denial is denial is where I lived for a really long time when my husband was addicted. Everything's fine. It's going to be fine. It's not that bad. I can fix this. It's going to be okay. Like, it's not that big of big of a deal. It's going to be fine, until it started not being fine, until it wasn't, right? But for a while, I lived in that place of, okay, it's not as bad as I think. Like, it's not really a problem. It's not, it's not taking us all down with it. I was in denial about some of the things that were actually happening. I was in denial about the fact that things that I was doing were a problem. Man, I stayed there for a minute, unfortunately. So denial doesn't really admit that there's a problem, or doesn't admit that the problem is as significant as it is, right? Letting go knows there's a problem and understands the gravity of the problem, but chooses to not let that problem destroy their lives if it's out of their control. So our husband's drinking is out of our control. And I've done some episodes in the past about that. So if you don't think that currently, or if you don't believe that, please go back and listen to The Myth of Choice comes to mind. There's a few of them that talks about how we truly can't control our husband's drinking. We can't. So letting go knows that the problem is there, but chooses to not let that problem destroy your life. Denial doesn't really do anything while everything is falling down around it. So like I said, I wasn't admitting that the problem was as significant as it was. I wasn't admitting to myself that I was part of the problem on some level, things like that. So denial, everything's falling down around it, and it's like, it's fine, or it's not that big of a deal. Letting go has good boundaries in place for protection. That is very, very important. So we want to make sure that even if we are letting go of the problem and understanding that it is not in our control, that we are still putting good boundaries in place, because those are for our protection and those are absolutely necessary. Denial is often a result of not knowing what else to do. So when we're in denial, it sometimes can feel easier at first because we don't really know what to do. So we're like, it's going to be okay. And I don't really need to do anything. I don't need boundaries. I'm sure my husband's just going to wake up tomorrow and understand everything that's happening and how hard this is for everybody. And I don't really know what else to do. So everything's going to be okay. I'm just going to pretend like everything's going to be okay. Letting go knows exactly what to do. So we're not walking around thinking, okay, well, everything's falling down around me. I don't know what to do about it. Letting go knows exactly what to do. And that is laying it at the feet of the Lord, understanding that this is not our battle to fight and that we can't fix it, and working on ourselves and working on the things that we can change. And we know exactly what those are when we have gotten to that place where we truly are letting go. Another thing to think of is that denial is self-based. So it can sometimes feel like self-protection at first. It's not. of course, because the problem is still there and the problem's not going away. And the problem usually just grows and grows and grows and grows until it explodes or, everything truly is falling down around you. But denial is self-based. It's like a self-protection thing at first. Letting go is God-based. So which do you think is the most effective? Self-based denial or God-based letting go? So are you seeing the difference? It's two completely different things. And it's not when you're letting go of things you can't control. I know that a lot of people think that it's just, people walking around pretending like everything is fine. We're not pretending like everything is fine at all. We know that there's problems, but we're not letting them control us because we are instead standing firm in the faith that God's got it and that it's His battle to fight. So there is truly a big difference between letting go of things you can't control and being in denial. And I hope that this has helped shed some light on those differences so that you better understand it. As always, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Quick question for you before I let you go today. Have you been to the Married to Addiction website? If you haven't, I would love if you would go pay it a visit. It's just marriedtoaddiction.com. And over there, you can see just a lot of different information about my podcast. There is a blog on there. There's some free resources for you. And there's also a few ways that you can actually get some help if you need a little more help and direction and support as you travel this difficult path with your addicted husband. So if you haven't yet, please go visit marriedtoaddiction.com. Thanks so much.